All right, calling to order the WTA Board of Directors meeting for Thursday, November 6, 2025. Have a roll call, please.
Yes, Donovan.
Here.
Hawkinson.
Here.
Cortez.
Here.
Lautenbach.
Here.
Lillquist.
Here.
Lund.
Here.
And Executive Sadhu is absent. Do we have Mayor Stewart online? Not seeing her. Absent at the moment. And Williams.
Here.
Darwin.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say congratulations to our board members, to all of our board members for running this year. Wow. All right, item C, public hearing on 2026 service changes.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go over a quick overview of what we're asking for a comment on today. I'll do a presentation. And then we'll have verbal comments, and then I'll just give a brief summary of the written comment that we received. So we are proposing changes that, if approved, would go into effect June of 2026. Next slide. The study area that we looked at for this change was all the routes that go through Western Washington University. So this also includes the York neighborhood, Lincoln Creek Park and Ride, Happy Valley, and Fairhaven. Next slide. So we wanted to look at on-time performance, limited flexibility, and our complex routing with a large number of routes serving one area. Next slide. So our goals for this change were to maintain or improve productivity and efficiency, be able to adjust the service levels to demand, simplify the routes, improve on-time performance, and have it be cost neutral or cost savings. Next slide. One more. So this is what we're proposing. This is an overview. We'll just quickly go through each of the routes after this. So we're reducing the number of routes that go through Western from 8 to 3. We would create the go line all the way to the end of the route 190, and with a reduction in the summer. We would adjust all the running times for the routes to meet what is currently happening. And then a part of this plan, since not every single route is going to go through the university, there are some points in which certain people would need to transfer to get all the way to the university. Next slide. So the Route 90, this is our existing Route 90. This would be the backbone of the service. It connects the Bellingham Station, Western Washington University, Lincoln Creek Park Ride, and the Lakeway Center where Fred Meyer is. And as I mentioned, it would be 15 minutes during the day on weekdays, except for summer quarter, we would drop down to 3 times an hour when the demand is much, much less. Next slide. So the Route 14 would be reduced during the day from every 30 minutes to every 60 minutes. And the reason for this is we're implementing a new Route 7, which we'll talk about. And the vast majority of the ridership will be covered where the 7 is going to also be. So those that are going to be needing to transfer or have reduced to once an hour is on Harris and in the Fairhaven area. That's where the 7 will not be going, or the 190 covering it. And that is about 5% of the total ridership of the route, which would be the one that's down to once an hour. There's also other service in Fairhaven, but not directly to. Okay, next slide. So this is our new Route 7. It's every 60 minutes. So combined with the 14 through Happy Valley, the main portion of Happy Valley, it would be 2 times an hour. We have heard feedback. So right now we are proposing to have the route go on 24th up to campus. We have heard some feedback and we are going to look into it to have it also go on 21st So it is the same routing through Happy Valley as the 14, which will cover a little bit more of Happy Valley. This also would serve a connection from 32nd Street up to campus, and then be one of the two routes that serves Samish Way. Next route. So this is the Route 5, which would replace the current 105. It would also serve Samish, so along with the 7 would make 2 buses an hour on Samish Way. It also adds evening and Sunday service to Samish, which we've been getting lots of requests over the years as this builds out to much higher density and also has priority population. In order to make this route work and the timing, we are proposing to eliminate the service stage board. And we have about 4 boardings a day on this loop on average for the day. And if we remove fixed route service, that also changes the ADA boundaries. So there would be a small change to the ADA boundary, which there are 7 active riders currently in that area. So that would be one need to note about this change. Next slide. This is the Route 6, so this is through the York neighborhood. It replaces the 196, 197, so it would just be out and back service to over by the Lakeway Center. It would turn around and then come back. And there would be, if you wanted to go up to the university, you would transfer at Bellingham Station, or you would transfer to the 190, which is 15 minutes during the school year. The next slide. These routes would be a route that loops the university, Bill McDonald, Samish, and it would run when classes are being held during the fall, winter, spring session. So only when there's the most peak demand. When there's not peak demand, then this service would not be run. And this covers some of our existing shuttles. We will still supplement with some shuttles, which are ones we just run in front of other buses. One thing I did want to mention is that we are our proposal is to keep our existing extra buses in Happy Valley in the morning, so that we can make sure we can get all of the load there. The biggest loads are going to campus in the morning, and we will keep an extra shuttle serving that area to make sure that everyone can get to classes. Okay. That's the end of the presentation overview, so we can look at it.
All right, thank you. Questions, comments?
Did you have fair number of maybe after the hearing?
All right.
Talk.
Oh, go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, this at least the second time I've heard this presentation, and it's still hard for me to get a sense of, is it, and I'm very self-interested here, it's gonna be harder for me to get to work. So will the 190s still have, like, if it's busy, a second bus behind, like 2 in a row if it's crowded, so you'll still have that kind of sweeper effect going?
Yes, we will. We've looked at the loads at all of the stops around West, and either with an extra bus that would just follow the route of the 190 the whole way, or you time the 97, 98 to pick up those that are going up Bill McDonald. So that route will take the place of some of our existing 190 shuttles we have, but we will still have buses 2 at a time when there is a load more than 1 bus can.
And in the mornings at peak times, it'll still be 15 minutes every 15.
Yeah, a minimum of 15. We also have additional buses that we will be running in the morning just to make sure that we can, they may be staggered a few minutes after the other bus, but they will we're just reallocating, but making sure that we're still able to pick up the existing loads, and in some cases, maybe better serve the loads.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
I had a question about the elimination of the Fairhaven Loop, which has very low utilization and ridership. But you mentioned that there would be an impact to the ADA service area with potentially 7 existing riders. What does notice of the potential impacts for them look like? How do we support that transition for them?
Do you have anything, Kristen?
Oh, do you have the comments?
So there's some people have written in, but you're asking about the transition, what would happen if their service was eliminated and what we would do?
Yeah.
I will say I looked at one of the addresses that came in and it looked like their neighbors, in front of their neighbor's house is in the boundary, so one potential would be to work with them to see if a travel trainer would be able to help them figure out how to get dropped off and picked up in front of their neighbor's house instead of directly in front of theirs. But there are going to be some people where that won't be the case, and then
Yeah, and so this paratransit corridor turns into a zone area. And the zone area would have service on Mondays and Wednesdays, but just in the morning and in the afternoon. So it's a pickup in the morning and then a drop off in the afternoon. Typically, that works for some people, wouldn't work for everybody. There's 3 riders that live in this area. The other 4 visit the area.
thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, anyone else before we open the public hearing? All right, opening the public hearing at 8:12. Is there anyone in person that would like to speak? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Diana Swan. I've lived here since 2010. I'm generally very pleased with most of the service, but I must admit, I live on Samish Commons now. And the 107 and the 108 is drastic. That chunk of Samish is drastically underserved. And it's ludicrous that the last 108 leaves downtown at 5:05. I mean, because a lot of people don't get off work till 6. And granted, there is a lot of activity down by the Sea Home. People have many options, but up at our end, so I walk downtown in the mornings, but soon when we're going to have slick sidewalks and it will be getting dark before 4, that isn't always the most desirable option. So I'm hoping that maybe eventually that 107 and 108 will be expanded and extended. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in person? All right, anyone online that would like to unmute and address the board?
And Sunday service.
Dawn. Looks like Dawn might be having trouble unmuting. There we are. Oh, Dawn, we can't hear you. Oh, sorry, Dawn. Well, we appreciate you being here and giving it a try. All right, we got a lot of written.
Wait, are you ready for me?
Yep.
So we have a packet here with all of the written comments in them, and they're grouped by categories to try to help.
That was super helpful.
And the most frequent comments were on service about the service the Route 14 and the 105. So the comment on the Route 14 was about having it be down to once an hour. Truly, the only section that's down to one service, one trip an hour would be on that Harris, which I mentioned was about 5% of the route. But there is the inconvenience of some people having to transfer to access the 7. So that is a concern that was mentioned, that adding a transfer would be inconvenient. The 105, again, this is right now people have service from 32nd Street, a single seat ride up to the VU. And they would only have a single seat ride as far as Sun Campus in this proposal. So that was a concern for some people.
It really helped me if you showed the routes you're talking about.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't memorize 105.
Yeah, sorry. Are we able to show the?
Yes, I'll get that back up here in just a second here.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So the Route 14 serves Fairhaven, Harris, up 21st and up 24th to all the way to through campus into downtown. And then the Route 105 is the one that starts downtown through campus, goes all the way down Bill McDonald, then 32nd Old Fairhaven Parkway. And so those on 32nd right now, a single seat ride all the way up to main campus, and this area would now only have a single seat ride as far as South Campus.
Track, do you want to go to?
Do you want to go to the 14 first? Okay, so this is the Route 14, and as I mentioned, we're the concern was that we are reducing it to reduce some of the duplication and cover the most used portions with additional service, not the whole route through campus.
Can you go back to the previous?
Yeah.
Is it, and it shows, the one that shows all of the routes?
Back to the overview route, this, yeah. Yeah, so I can just come up here since I don't have a wager. We're looking at, so this right now is where it goes down to Donovan and then up. We are looking at having it come at 21st and over, and so that it's covering the same portion through Happy Valley as the 14.
If you did make those final modifications, how does that work? Because we're having a hearing now, we're gonna try to decide now, I think, right?
We have it on the schedule for the next meeting, but we could add that modification in with the service to the 14, and that's really the only change that we have at this point.
So you can vote today and say direct that,
Mhm.
that, or we can wait till the next.
So the orange, or I guess the lighter orange color is going to once an hour instead of every half an hour, but the bulk of the route is covered by 2 more buses, the way is that?
Yeah, it's covered by it would be covered by the 14 shuttle in the morning to make sure where the peak loads are. That was what what we're hoping to do in this, instead of just having like 30 minutes all day, to have it more focused when there's based on loads. And so we would have the 14 shuttle in the morning, and then the 7 would be covering this, so to get people where they need to go.
And I guess remind me, what was broken and what are we fixing?
Yeah, so one of the main reasons why is that we haven't been able to adjust the timings on all these routes, and they're starting to get really poor for the on-time performance.
Okay.
And the way they're all tied together, you can't just add 5 minutes because it's like on this schedule, and so we had to take it all apart. We looked at what the actual running times are and put it back together based on that.
Okay.
And which is a really important thing to do. You know, we haven't done that in a long time. Since I think like 2004 for these routes.
Right.
And then
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the other thing is just that we had a lot of service where we didn't, because everything went through campus, and we couldn't tailor it to demands because that was just everything had to go through there all times of the day. in order to get where it's going. So we wanted to try to make it more focused on having buses when the demand is, and to simplify having so many choices to get down the corridor.
Just to add, because we have so many routes going through that section of campus, during the summer, we have a lot of empty buses, right? Because everything's going to campus. We don't need that much service to campus, and we feel it's better to allocate that to areas that don't go through campus. So if you're coming from Fairhaven or Old Fairhaven Parkway, you can get downtown much more effectively and efficiently before. So it's an efficiency measure. And we think we can do it with existing resources that it would cost any additional thing to do that. So.
Yeah, back to the overview, please. So the comment we've heard now had to do with the portion of Sandwich Way at the end where Sandwich Commons is. I don't remember exact number route you're referring to. It probably has a different number now. I see 3 colored lines going past Sandwich Commons.
Yes.
Can you tell me what the interval is for service will be along the entire length of that Sandwich Way?
Yeah,
And when it drops down below that peak?
Yeah, so we'll have 2 buses an hour that run year round. It will also include evening and Sunday service, which it doesn't currently have, so that will be an expansion in the proposal for that coverage. And then the red one will add frequency only at peak time, so it will be running up Bill McDonald in the mornings to get students to classes, and then it will be running in the other direction in the afternoon to get students back. And that's just the fastest way to make a loop around the campus.
And you say evening now, like 8 o'clock or?
I would have to, I don't.
We have service will be until 9 o'clock. Along the corridor throughout.
That'd be every half hour until about.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's spaced evenly every half an hour, but it'd be 2 per.
Yeah, it's not quite every half hour. We had our time spacing it out, but it is.
So I've ridden some of these routes some of the time, and I'm trying to figure out where, in terms of students, where most people get on and off. There's that sharp bend there, like above north of the sea lots. There's a lot of people getting on and off there. And of course, right there in front of the Viking Commons. Is that where people get on and off? Where are the boardings and lightings for students?
Like going to the campus.
Going in even, I guess.
Yeah, so there's 2 main locations, which is up at either Viking Union or Haggard Hall. And then it's split to then the stop, which we call the South Campus stop, the rec center stop.
Yeah,
which is
right
by
there,
like
sharp
where the
bend.
swimming pool is. And and so it's split. I don't know the exact I could come back with the exact split of what, but
Just in terms of service and efficiency, everyone's getting on and off. It looks like 2 primary locations. Is there any way you could just also ease service by, I don't know, people get off where it makes sense for them, I guess?
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna close the public hearing at 8:23. Or the board discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know, I'm just trying to think, is there anything on the boarding and the lighting part that could create efficiency, the speed of buttons?
yeah, we've looked at sort of like the stop spacing, and there's maybe 1 stop that we could identify to maybe like get people to congregate, but there's also so many at each one, it's hard to, move them. They're kind of evenly spaced pretty well right now. But as far as trying for efficiency for that, I'm not sure.
Let me try to answer it a different way. So the way to look at this is like phase 1 of improvements to this corridor. So part of this phase 1 are the operational changes that we're talking about here. So we've looked very closely at the boardings and lightings using our APC data. So and our loads. So we're tailoring the service to be able to address those loads, right? And then the second part of pretty much the phase 1 are physical improvements that we're making. So we have, and I think it's listed in your packet, we have a number of changes we want to make to help with transfers and help the boarding process in one particular location that's at the VU at Haggard Hall. So I guess you'd call the outbound stop in front of VU is being moved up the street to get it out of the very congested area in front of VU. So we'll have a bus platform in that location. And it'll allow the buses to get through that congested area without having to stop and wait. And then we're also going to be doing 4 real-time bus arrival signs, both at the VU Haggard Hall area as well as at Bill McDonald, where the other major transfer point is. Those are the 2 major things. And then I should also mention shelters that we don't currently have at the VU stop, the new VU stop. So that's kind of the phase 1 approach. And then phase 2, I would say, is part of our rapid transit project that you'll see here in a couple months that is talking about deeper capital improvements with improvements to provide infrastructure that will reduce delay. And those could be things like bus stop islands along Bill McDonald, so the bus doesn't pull off, it can stay in the street and pick up passengers. It'll be things like signal improvements in that corridor and improving the gates as we get through that part of High Street, so the gates slow down the buses. There's one gate, but sometimes the buses have to wait, and we're working with the university on, is there a different gate system so that the gates can open for buses but close for other traffic? So that'd be another improvement we're looking at. So those are things that will be coming midterm timeframe, depending on funding.
Okay, Todd?
Yeah, thanks. And I don't know if this is another 190 question, but will there be the frequency of service that's going through Lincoln Street where lots of people get on and off for either parking or apartments? Is that gonna stay the same? But that'll be the same kind of morning frequency.
Yeah, so that portion right now will increase to 15 buses per hour. And then with that frequency, we only need 1 time at the peak to have an extra bus. But that should meet the demand that we have.
Okay, thanks.
Every 15 minutes, yes.
The routing, I don't understand. Probably is a great reason I don't understand it. It's the light blue route up there, the one that goes Lakeway, then it goes kind of like down Puget and downtown. It's a short little route.
Yes.
Back forth, back forth, back forth. What is its function in this whole system
Yeah.
for Western, and what is its function, maybe generally speaking, for the rest of the system?
Right,
Is
yeah.
it just a connector?
Yeah, so this route was something that we combined with the route serving sort of the priority populations, which is Lincoln Square and Fraser, Regency Park, apartments on Fraser. And we had a route that was serving the campus, and we just sort of combined them. And we're breaking that apart. There are a few boardings of people who are riding through to campus, but the majority of these riders are going to town. And so it would just be out and back to downtown. There would be a few people based on the current data that would need to transfer, but this is really a route that is serving those priority populations.
Yeah, the transfers can happen at Lakeway, but most likely they'll happen downtown where there's more opportunity to transfer to additional service. So it could happen at either of those locations. But again, the number of transfers we found is very small, like in the handful of numbers that transfers from that particular area. So that the primary purpose of that is the Lincoln Square and folks who live in the Puget neighborhood, somewhat in York.
Final question, could you please explain the potential modification again? It said it kind of goes off the map
I know,
here.
yeah.
Can you explain
Yeah.
how you might move that orange line or move the blue line so they
Yeah.
line up, or what?
Yes, so in the original proposal, we had it going up 24th, looping the South Campus area and then coming back on 24th. And we think we would better serve to follow the 14, so to go loop campus and then come back, go south on 21st, which is what the 14 does, just to create some consistency and coverage and for less confusion for the students. That was part of what we heard.
Where does which line moves and where does?
Rather than an out and back, this blue line would then just be inbound this direction, come outbound.
I get it.
Yeah.
The blue line now go down that. road.
Yeah, this one, yeah. So it paralleled the Route 14.
Yeah, just see great consistency with,
Is there any reason not to commit to that change right now? Or do you want to look at it more?
are we,
I think we can.
okay, yeah, it's area we're already serving, there's existing stops, so we've looked at it and the timing works, so.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
probably more efficient.
Okay. Yes, we can commit to that now.
What kind of motion do you want?
The most deal to give.
You need the words in our mouth somewhere.
You want, I guess, Michael, you want to proceed with that change? And
I do.
Adopt the plan, just make a motion.
Yeah, I would
Plan
make,
with that.
I would make a motion that the board approves proposed service changes as outlined in a memo with the inclusion of the adjustment of the route down 21st and up.
Route 7.
Route 7, adjustment in Route 7 as discussed.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second, further discussion.
This is the motion for the whole package of changes.
Yep.
You can make an amendment.
No, I think it sounds good. Less empty buses in the summer going through Western seems like it's a good
Yeah,
strategy.
I'm kidding. All right, all those in favor of adopting the 2026 service changes, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Thanks, everybody. Congratulations.
Thank you, all that.
Item D, do we have any other public comment? Please unmute if you are online and would like to address the board.
I should keep it lighter. Discussion, but
Yeah, also just for the record, Mary Lou Stewart is with us online. All right, seeing none, anyone in person that would like to address the board? Okay, item E, executive session. You're not supposed to be on.
Speaking of.
I don't know what to find. I forgot that out.
Yeah. Right. The board will now meet in executive session for an update on recent executive session. 30.110.1I. The board will be checking for approximately 15 minutes. Coming back at, don't know what time it is, 8:48 AM.
Wrong side.
Close the executive session at 8:48. You know how many times I refreshed my phone? All right, item F, board action, calling a special meeting for a public hearing on proposed fare increase. Audrey.
Staff is recommending that the board of directors call a special meeting on December 4th for the purpose of holding a public hearing for a proposed fare increase. A little background, WTA staff drafted a fare increase proposal, and if approved, these changes would take effect by Q4 of 2026. We have already begun a public engagement effort to receive feedback. We'll be analyzing those comments and presenting them on December 4th. The proposal might evolve as we hear back from community members and their interests. WTA has not raised fares since 2008. Costs have steadily risen over the years. We've been able to hold off a fare increase so far with through a variety of methods, which we've outlined here, but we are out of alignment with our fare collecting peers. So our proposal is $2 for a fixed route ride, reduced fare would be $1, $3 for a fare transit ride, with both capping daily at $6 and monthly at $60. We were also proposing some changes to our gold card rides, that they would no longer be completely free, but we would give half price for a larger group of people, including 65 plus, all paratransit eligible, and any who need disability or income-based eligibility. All rides would be paid per trip, so now you can buy a 31 or a 92-day pass. People would be paying per trip. So they could either do that on a UMO card, or they could do that with a bank card, a watch, a phone, any kind of tab like that, and it would all fare cap daily and monthly. There's no fiscal impact from just setting the hearing, but potentially an additional 1.2 to 2.4 million in revenue at these proposed rates.
So you talked about reduced rates. Are there reduced rates for paratransit?
Yes, half off a fixed route, but not for paratransit rides themselves.
So I feel like that might help address.
We'll have plenty of time to talk about the policy components, just to set the.
Yes.
The fair and give you some background on.
Thank you.
I move we set a special meeting for public hearing on proposed fare increases for 8 AM on December 4th.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. It was a late cycle.
Just a comment on that item afterwards. If longtime viewers of this program will remember in previous episodes, I've suggested that we really are running two business models, and the legislature needs to realize that. And I think we need funding mechanisms other than fair that recognize the different financial loads of the two kinds of services that we run. I'm wondering at what point either the board may embrace that idea, and if they do, it would mean that we would have to add that to a lobbying effort and a discussion with WISTA and everything else. I mean, I'm talking about a statewide change in how we fund paratransit. I just want to revisit that part of the episode.
So, good. Okay, good point. And we have legislative committee with WISTA next week, so we'll talk about that and see what others think.
Okay.
And legislatively, may be a bad time with the way the state budget is now, but it's time to start.
Way the legislature works, yeah, next year. Let's do year one now, if indeed my idea has merit.
Well, and I feel like there's no good time to raise fares, like, but you know, it's not happening. I remember starting the discussion in 2020 and then being like, no, COVID, so. No, it's bounding around. Item F2, authorization to execute purchase and sale agreement of the Bakerview Spur property.
Yes, so what we're asking, there's a resolution in your packet that we're asking for approval to authorize the general manager to enter into a purchase and sale agreement to acquire the property on Bakerview Spur that adjoins our property. For background on this, we believe this is a strong strategic investment that enables us to solve a number of problems and actually save us over $5 million in what had been planned programmatic things to connect for example, our property with our North Lot property, environmental things that we need to do and so forth that are very expensive to cross that creek and connect those. This allows us to operate better. It also gives us space. This building was built for about a 25-year life. We're past that now. And so as WTA continues to operate, more us as people or those things, this gives us the ability to grow into the future. What the purchase and sale agreement does is it allows us 120-day due diligence period to take a look at that property, understand what the leases are that are on there that we're going to continue, what the environmental condition is, what the structural condition is, all those kinds of things. Devin, over there, everybody's moving on me. Devin's leading the charge, and he led the charge for us on the public market property. Does a fantastic job doing this. it will lead to another touch point for the boards. We'd come back after doing all those studies, and depending on what we find, we can assess whether we waive those or not. And then another touch point for the board would be to authorize closing. So there's more touch points for the board as we find out more about the property. The 2.9 is the agreed price is supported by an independent appraisal as required. One of the things we need to look at too is relocation costs and whether that's applicable or not. That's part of the due diligence to see how that works. So on the second page of the memo outlines kind of how we got to that this would ultimately save us about 5.6 million over time and projects that we don't need to do in revenue that comes in from leases. It frees up our ability to re-look at North Lot and maybe some of the surplus aspects of that, including frontage property that we may not need, the neighbors that you better utilize. So it gives us some more flexibility on that. And as you know, from the reserves, we have the capability to pay for that. We would bring that back as a budget amendment in 2026. It's not in the proposed 2026 budget right now because of the contingencies aspects.
Scott?
I'll move we adopt the resolution 362-25.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Thanks, everybody. Item G, consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments, concerns about the consent agenda? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you. Item H, board reports.
On the reports due to time, we can go through them very quickly, or we could just see if there's questions on them.
Any questions?
I have one question.
Go ahead.
On the finances, now that we receive our FTA money. In the past, when we got that money, it was based on buying buses and it was some percentage, some percentage of the money. So now what's our basis for getting that money?
The proposed change to
Yeah.
draw it down early. So our basis would be we can draw up to 50% of wages and benefits. And the reason that we want to do this is it allows us to keep that money from lapsing. We earn the interest. And it does relieve us of some of the FTA restrictions on buses, but when we take that money, we will put an equal amount into the fleet reserve. So we have that money available to replace.
So do we get
buses.
50% of is more than we were getting in the past? Or do we get more money out of this?
We will for the first couple of drawdowns because we'll drive from fiscal 21 to 23 and then 24 to 26. So that's about $11 and $15 million each. Annually, we get about 5 million. So going forward, 27, it would be 5 million.
So there is an upper limit of 5 million.
So the upper limit would be 50% of the wages, but we're constrained by what the FTA is allocated.
Yeah, it's a formula fund.
Yeah,
So
it's just.
yeah, Because 50% of our wages would be a big number.
Right, yeah, we don't, it's the amount that's allocated. The other thing that it does, and whether this is new money or not, is it mitigates a lot of risk. So we don't carry the carrying costs, and as FTA is taking longer and longer to reimburse us. Sure. And we are talking $15-20 million going from 3 months to 9-10 months. There's a lot of interest costs that we're losing on that. And then also if our budget or our bus replacement schedule doesn't require anything, there's a risk that you could lose it because you have a certain amount of time, 5 years to spend it. And then also with the way things are, we just don't know whether that money will always be there or not. And this allows us to draw it down and protect it. So it mitigates a lot of potential risks.
Thanks.
Further discussion? All right, other business? Announcements? Yeah.
So Mark is here in the room and I just wanted to share that
He litigated a 2018 rideshare case for us, and we were found at no fault yesterday. So,
Always fun.
Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, any other announcements? We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Fly safe.
We get out.
So,